Before you think about brushes or blending techniques, you need these 7 basic tips. I skipped them at first and it held me back for years.
Hi, I'm Brenda. I'm an artist and I'm absolutely passionate about painting. And just like to share some of those tips with you, just to help you build your confidence, whether you're starting out painting or you've been painting for a little while and you sometimes get lost in it. So I've 7 tips here today and I hope they'll help. So I suppose tip number 1 really would be keep it simple. There's not much point in downloading a load of landscape photos and getting stuck in and then just giving up after 10 or 15 minutes. You want to keep it nice and simple. Objects like just fruit, flowers. I have a few paintings here where I've done just some floral paintings. They're nice and easy. Some of these just studies, I can get them done in 15 minutes, and that's what you want. You want to win, a small win, and something that just builds your confidence daily. These are some examples of some of the paintings that I did it for a previous video where I demoed how to paint these. And they're nice and simple, simple subjects just to start with. Tip number 2, it have to be see your value first. It's lovely to pour paint out of the tube and get stuck in, but if you can really master value, it'll make your paintings stand out a little bit more. They'll become more realistic. What you're aiming for here is really to get an image from a photograph, or if you were drawing something that's in front of you, an object, a simple household object like a cup, and you want to make it look like a 3D object on your page. And in order to do that, you have to see the value in it. I've done a little simple value chart here, and I'll give you a couple of examples. I'll show you the examples first. So this is an apple in full color, but to be able to see it in black and white first. But this one, you can really see the different variations in tone. This is just a value chart that I painted out there. And it's like where black is gradually going into a lighter grey at the bottom and eventually into white. So you're looking for all the variations on that chart right down to white. If you can kind of start mastering that, that's when your paintings will really pop. I found the best way to do that was maybe small pencil studies at first until I got a grasp of it, and then I could bring that knowledge then into my paintings. So tip number 3 has to be don't get lost in supplies. All the money I've spent over the years in the art shop is just ridiculous, but if I could just have had some guidance at the beginning. I remember I started with oil paints instead of something much simpler like watercolors or acrylic paint. They dry faster, nice and easy to get started with as well. I use acrylics, and to be honest, if I was to really kind of limit it down, I'd be going with 2 yellows, 2 reds, 2 blues, and maybe a black and a white as well. The reason I choose this palette is you can mix any colours from these 6. You've got a cadmium yellow light, a cadmium yellow medium or dark. This is more cool, this is warm. The same here with the reds. We have a warm red and a cool red. And then we have the same here with the blues, a warm and a cool blue. By mixing those 3 colours, you can get shades of greens and shades of purples, and you can mix in your white and black as well. But if you did want to kind of broaden out the colour range that you have, you can always buy in or add in extra colours again. You can buy painting sets, just starter sets. Like, try them out first and see, do you like the feel of them? Do you like the feel of acrylics, or would you prefer watercolours? I just have a tub of white there because I use a lot of white. I very, very rarely use black, but it is a great way of kind of toning down a colour, like just adding a tint in to kind of darken down a blue or darken down a red. In relation to brushes as well, I would say just buy really cheap ones at the beginning. You can always add to your collection afterwards. These are some flat brushes first. This is a flat 10. This one is a flat 8. I have like a round brush here that is around 6, and you can get them in 8, 10, 12, right down to like 0 for very, very fine work. But I would say just buy a couple of small flat, a couple of small round, maybe in a 6 and an 8. And then these are called filbert. So they're slightly tapered at the top. That's a filbert 10. Depends if you're into more kind of detailed work or you're just playing around. I would get some bigger brushes. They're great for getting a lot of paint down onto the canvas very quickly. All you need with that is water, a couple of empty jars. I use a palette knife as well, and This is just for kind of mixing the colours. If I was mixing a yellow and a red to make some orange, I'd mix that up first with that and then wipe it off. And I always have my kitchen roll here and my water right beside me when I'm painting. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, I would say just set really small achievable goals. If you've printed off a really complex landscape image and you've decided for 4 hours you're going to paint this, if you're just starting out, that might be just a little unrealistic. You could fail halfway through and give up. So what I would say is just do small 15-minute studies and just commit to doing that every single day. Even if you did one little watercolor or acrylic study every day of a flower, by the end of the week, you'd have 7 flowers and your confidence is building up as well. You can make mistakes as well. You know, that's definitely one of the tips in here. Allow yourself to make mistakes. If you're just new to acrylics, you want to get the feel of it. You don't want to be worrying about how your painting is coming out. I was just playing around with this and they're very, very basic. There's not much realism in there, but at the same time, I had a little bit of fun with it. The next tip I would say, tip number 5 would be study the light and where is the light hitting the subject. If you can really gauge, and it's going back to the values again, if you can gauge where the light is in a subject and where the darks are, I would say always when you set out with an image, whether it's a photograph you took yourself or an image you found in a magazine, make sure that there's a good range of tonal values there, and like a study where there's maybe evening light coming in and there's some nice shadows in there, because that will give you a great painting. I've already kind of touched on this tip number 6, which is to learn to love your mistakes. You've got to learn to love your mistakes. You're not going to be a success overnight and you're going to have plenty failures. And you just have to learn to accept that. I wish someone really had told me that at the beginning, because, you know, I'd set out on a painting and it'd be just, I'd either overwork it and it'd be a complete fail. It'd really knock my confidence. And I mightn't go to the easel again for a week. A tip a friend used to always give to me was just turn the painting to the wall and move on and see the mistake as something that you've learned. It's a relearning process. It takes time, and those are all part of the journey as well. Okay, so tip number 7 has to be like, trust your own voice. There's so much noise out there to niche down. You know, it has to be landscape, or it has to be seascape, or it has to be florals. I think the best part of painting is experimenting. You know yourself, like what your authentic self is, what kind of things you're attracted to. A really good way of doing that is, I love to get interior magazines and home magazines and just cut out images and like paste them onto a sheet of paper, and just things that attract you, like, you know, things that you really like. I do paint seascapes and I paint landscapes. I love nature, and that came in time. I wasn't always painting that subject matter, because if you're not painting something that you're really passionate about, it does shine through in your work. So don't rush that part of it. I like to keep a sketchbook as well. If there's little images I like, or other artists that I like, or I've been at an exhibition and I'm really impressed about someone's work, you know, I'll take a note of that. You can print out other artists' work. You can look back at artists down throughout the ages and you might be really drawn to one particular artist. And it's okay, like, to print out some images of their work, paint what they've painted, and you can see how they painted it, and you'll just get a love of that then. And it's like knowledge going in, you know, the knowledge will be always going in. So yeah, don't niche down too early. That's what I would definitely be saying. What is it that you love? And it could be people, it could be still lifes, it could be buildings, it could be the sea, it could be a lot of things, but don't rush yourself in that. Take your time with it. There's no panic. Paint whatever you want or whatever's available to you at the time. You'll know yourself when something is touching your heart. Your voice will emerge from that. So don't take it too seriously at the beginning. And another tip, this is going to be a bonus tip for you, would be like community and engagement. And that's that you join an art class locally. There's workshops held in various locations, I'm sure, in your area where you can attend and just build up your confidence and meet other artists, or join some Facebook groups, or join a community of people that are at the same stage as you. It'll really benefit you. You know, you'll learn from them and they'll learn from you as well. If any of these tips have helped you, or there's one that really stands out for you, drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, I'd love if you could give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. There'll be plenty more videos for beginner painters or people that have already been painting but have come back to it, or they're dabbling and they just want to build their confidence again. Okay, thank you. Bye.